Hello everyone and welcome back. So, we've watched Series 1 and Christopher Eccleston has left the show already. We have a new Doctor, same companion. Season 2. So, what have we got? What have we got here? Let's start at New Earth. So, do I like this episode? The things I don't know. I don't know if I like this episode or not. I think I've got to put it in C tier because I feel like the setting, there could have been a lot more done with it. I feel that the ending didn't make much sense. I don't like the Doctor and Rose as a sort of romantic thing, which is a big issue in this entire, series, but it's fun. It is fun. I mean, Billie Piper and David Tennant getting to act as Cassandra, they're having an absolute blast, so I can't really, go against it and say that I really hate it. But also, I don't know. I feel like there could have been more here, but I don't know if that's just me speaking gobbledygook. Tooth and Claw is an episode that I really don't like though. It's basically New Earth. One of the things I don't like about New Earth, I find the setting kind of boring. I don't find the side characters particularly interesting. Barring Tooth and Claw, Queen Victoria has actually done kind of well. The villain, Tooth and Claw is a terrible villain. I mean, it's a werewolf, but we're not going to use any werewolf tropes. It's just going to be, there's a werewolf here now, and that's the story, and it's really weird and kind of boring, and it doesn't do anything creative with it, and yeah. I'm not a big fan of that. And again, it's sort of like the Doctor and Rose sort of walking around, kind of not taking anything seriously. It's a bit annoying. I'm not a big fan of it. Of course, there's a whole the argument that I don't mind unhealthy relationship in Doctor Who if the show is self-aware of it and kind of calls them out on it a little bit, which there are attempts to do in this series. I just don't think it's done as well as other problematic Doctor-companion relationships. And yeah, I think Tooth and Claw kind of misses the mark there. And if it wasn't for Queen Vic being in there, there would be nothing redeeming about the episode, in my opinion. But School Reunion. School Reunion was really, really good. Honestly, kind of S-tier Doctor Who. Initially, when I watched it first, before I'd watched the sort of Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi eras, I thought it was more just nostalgia bait, a way to sort of be like, hey, look at Sarah Jane and K9. And I thought, oh, okay, it's just kind of nostalgia bait. Going back, these characters have done really well. Using Sarah Jane as a way to forward, the progression of Doctor and Rose's relationship in order to get the sort of darker side of the Doctor out, I think it's great. Honestly, every single character in this story gets a lot of growth and development, and I fucking love that. Even Mickey Smith gets the whole tin dog thing, which becomes his arc for a few episodes. This episode just progresses everything really, really well, sets up so much for the series, and makes the Doctor and Rose kind of tolerable, because this is where you sort of get that little fleshy inside bit of the Doctor, where he talks about, how he's so old, and he could travel with someone, and he would have to watch them wither and die if he sat with them forever. So it's a very interesting look, and it puts the sort of Doctor-Rose relationship on a very uneasy kind of balance. But, let's go in the fireplace. Where do I think this goes? It's another Esther episode. It's amazing. It is Stephen Moffat's blueprint for Doctor Who. This is another episode that I kind of stepped on my first watch, rewatching the whole thing, because I'd never watched Moffat's era. But this is exactly how Moffat viewed the Doctor and how he wanted the Doctor to feel like in his show. It is the Doctor as fairy tale, as your imaginary friend that fights off the monsters in the night. That is what the Doctor is in this episode, and it's so lovely to see this vision of how Doctor Who should be, how Moffat believes Doctor Who should be, just so beautifully presented in Tennant's era. I love it. I think Man Pompadour's a great character. There we go. I nearly thought the word's a character, and that would be quite embarrassing. I think there are a lot of really cool moments where she is stuck on the slow road and she can express a lot of frustration with that. And it's cool. It's a really, really cool episode. I think it does a lot of exciting things, and it's a great little mystery, and it knows how to do Doctor Who. Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel. Now, where do I feel these lot are? I'm saying a solid B tier. I do have a bit of nostalgia with Rise of the Cybermen Age of Steel. It was my first Doctor Who episode I ever watched as a kid. I remember distinctly turning on this channel and I was watching these giant hulking metal creatures smashing through windows and they were about to kill the Doctor and he was surrendering and they were going to delete him and then whoa, cliffhanger! And it was amazing as a kid, it's what Doctor Who is as a kid. It's lovely. But as an adult, it's an okay episode. It does do a decent job at displaying some of the horrors of the Cybermen, that removal of emotion, distillation of what is human, to the point where, like, you've got a Cyberman who had a husband who she was going to marry, and it's like, oh, I'm so cold. Oh, no, that's scary. It's chilling. It doesn't give enough of a focus to that. Eventually, it just has become kind of like a zombie story. And I think the side characters in this episode are a little bit less well done. I don't really care about the Scooby-Doo gang, and I don't vibe with them the same way that I do with certain other characters and stories. Like, it just, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I like Cybermen. I really love the Cybermen when they're done well, and it's kind of done well, but not well enough for me. At least in my opinion. Now, the Idiot's Lantern. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's the Doctor and Rose at their most obnoxious. It's a villain who is very, very comical, but not in the fun way. It's a setting that is once again, whoa, look, it's Britain in the 18/1900s. Whoa, and we're gonna glorify a bit of UK history this time, and I don't know. I just don't like these kind of episodes at all. It's another reason why I don't like Tooth and Claw. You take a setting from the UK in the 18 to 1900s and then you glorify someone from that era, and it annoys me. It really annoys me, and it gets in the way of me enjoying a lot of the historicals, especially in the Tennant era. I find this is a particular issue, and the Idiot's Lantern is no exception to that rule. It's just not a fun episode. In my opinion, I just don't enjoy it at all. But The Impossible Planet Satan Pit, this is as good base Under Siege Doctor Who. It's the first, unless you count Dalek, I would say the first proper formulaic base Under Siege. And initially you hear the word formulaic, you think, whoa, wait, formulaic Doctor Who? You don't want that, it's just predictable, right? But there is a distilled formula of Base Under Siege that's done very well in Doctor Who in certain episodes, and this is one of them. It's a great mystery box, trying to figure out the cause of all the chaos that's happening, that's swirling around this black hole. Satan's there. Like, Satan, the real Satan, is canon in Doctor Who, and the Doctor has to come to terms with that, even though it goes against his belief system. Fucking cool shit. There's a lot of fun in this episode. I think the set design's great. In particular, the actor who plays Toby, magnificent job doing that performance. Such chills as this sort of, like, Satan puppet walks among the group. It's so fucking cool. I do think the episode is held a little bit back by the fact that it is that little bit formulaic, and the few other side characters just aren't really that fun to be around. I don't think it's, like, perfect, but there is a hell of a lot of fun to have in this episode. Love and Monsters is probably the most controversial episode of Doctor Who. It's the first Doctor Light episode, but instead of it being something critically acclaimed like Blink or Turn Left, Love and Monsters is a hot topic because it doesn't really take itself too seriously. There is a monster designed after a Blue Peter competition winner, but I kind of like it. I do kind of like it. It's got a charm to it that I think is missed by a lot of people. It is true that the story does kind of end in a really weird way. You have Concrete Slab Ursula. Wow. But there is genuinely good stuff. Like, the characters are believable. They're enjoyable to be around. You buy the group and their sort of chemistry. I find that Jackie gets a lot of fun development in this episode. Peter Kay's having a blast as the Absorbaloff. Like, this episode has charm. This episode has so much charm. Even though I acknowledge that, like, a lot of it is written very subtly, I don't care. It's a fun episode. I'm going to put it in B tier. Sue me. Fear Hair is just bad. Fear Hair is just really bad. I mean, the same issue as Idiot's Lantern, in the sense that glorifying British history, even though it's technically from the future, you've got, like, the Doctor and Rose are a really annoying sort of like, oh, there's no possible consequences that can happen to us, boing boing, kind of thing, and I don't like it. The side characters are really boring. Bar the council guy. The council guy in Fair Hair is an absolute G. But bar that, it's just boring. And yeah, it's, again, not a really fun episode. And it's just the issue with, like, Series 2, is I find that if the episode doesn't have anything to draw me to it, and it's just like, here's the Doctor and Rose, I don't like the Doctor and Rose, so you can't prop up the episode around them unless you make a fantastic arc with them. So, yeah. Now, I'm being Ghosts in Doomsday. This holds a special place in my heart. It's one of the few that I had on DVD as a kid, so I used to watch the special all the time. It's Daleks vs. Cybermen. It's childhood wish fulfillment. It has an interesting ending. It does kind of get a little bit, I don't want to say contrived, but it's very convenient how you can just press them button and suck them all up. I think it's B tier. I do. I think it's B tier. Maybe, no, it's A. It's A. I'm saying A. Because the Daleks of the Cybermen are really fun. The little interactions. I think it's such an awesome scale to have for a story. There's some fantastic ends to some arcs. But the ending is very wacky. It does have some great mystery boxes, but it's just, I feel like it's lacking a little bit of cohesiveness that I think is very much needed. And through this episode, the Cybermen go from being scary, half-human, almost zombified metallic creatures to mini Daleks that shoot, and they're like very much weaker than the Daleks, and they just go and shoot. And I feel like that just undermines what the Cybermen are as a villain, which does kind of annoy me a bit. And finally, that's Series 2, but we'll throw in Runaway Bride because it's a great episode. I would say it's A tier. Donna's introduction is fantastic. The humour lands super well in this episode. I don't like Christmas, but you know what? It works for a setting in this episode. And it is just, it's a lovely little bit of Doctor Who. I think the Sycorax, it's a bit of a comical, not Sycorax. What's their name? The spider lady. Oh my god, I forgot the Rachnos. There we go, I remembered. See, I definitely watched this episode like 3 days ago. But yeah, I think the Runaway Bride is a fantastic episode. I mean, I'm biased because I love Donna as a companion, and so her introduction obviously be great. I think the ending speech, particularly in the Runaway Bride, is a fantastic setup for so many of the Doctor's arcs about how he starts to sort of deify himself and he becomes almost all-powerful, as you'll see in a few episodes. And Donna's notion that he needs someone there to stop him is very interesting because the 10th Doctor is at his most interesting, but he is in that kind of lonely space, which we'll get into soon with Series 3 and 4 and the specials afterwards. But yeah, this is my opinion. I think that Series 2 was okay. I think it had some very good episodes. I think it had some very bad episodes. I'm glad that the Doctor and Rose are separated now. I think, they did get a little bit too big for their boots. Arguably, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday is supposed to be the consequence for that, but that isn't really explored in the story much, which I don't really like. I feel like if you're going to make that the whole point of the arc, actually commit to it and show that in your story rather than just, half mentioning it and trying to get the viewers to decide. But there are some gems in here. I think it could have been a lot better. I think the relationship between Doctor and Rose should have been explored more, and there should have been more of the sort of school reunion, Doctor's kind of unhealthy angle on it kind of perspective. But we will get to that soon in another series. It was an okay series. It was an okay series of Who, and David Tennant as 10th Doctor is kind of awesome. So I suppose I shouldn't be complaining. But yeah, thanks for watching. I will be back in probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks to cover Series 3 with Martha Jones joining the TARDIS. Yeah, if you're interested in my opinions, subscribe, like, leave a comment, all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next series roundup. And if you want daily reviews, they'll be on my Tumblr in the description. Bye-bye! And again, Daisy can't find the stop recording button. Well done.